why you trust these people. I think they are not.
Who said I trust them? Who said I trust them?
That's what the whole point of this is, Rob.
No, it's not. No, the whole point is you saying I have seen. The whole point is you saying I saw Kash Patel lie under oath. And as soon as we go to it, you're like, I just assume he's lying. What I'm saying is when I ask people for proof and they say, here's what I have a problem with, and I'm like, there's nothing there. And we argue about it, and then when you realize you're wrong, you go, I meant the next section. It sort of makes me not want to go to the next section, because if we do the whole rigmarole there again, you'll just say, I meant something else. It's just like debating with the lefty. Trump said Nazis are good people. 50 minutes into it, and then finally they'll go, yeah, but he did say drink bleach. Go to that. That's what I have a problem. Then we'll spend 50 minutes on that, and you'll go, yeah, but that's all I'm saying. You were wrong on this part. You're trying to backtrack and saying you never said it on this part. You were wrong. Well, let's go to the next section.
I said that about that period. That's
that
fine.
was specifically the allegations in the 2018 indictment in the Southern District of New York.
Who else did he traffic these young women to?
In terms of what the investigation, again, going back to 2008, Mr. Acosta, who limited the investigation and limited the search warrants and limited the parameters of the investigation, the only thing we are able to speak to publicly, because he was given a non-prosecution agreement by Mr. Acosta, is that first time period from, I believe, don't quote me on this, 97 to 2001-ish. And then when the Trump administration courageously reopened it.
Excuse me for interrupting, but I'm going to run out of time. You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
Now, where's he wrong about this?
Are you saying that there's no other co-conspirator in the FBI files? Because from what I understand, let me get this out. After this is when all of the Epstein files were released, correct?
I don't know the specific time of this.
I believe it was.
Okay.
And there were several co-conspirators that had been redacted. They listed the co-conspirators, which were now released.
Who?
The ones that Rokana and Massey.
They were at one point suggested to be possible co-conspirators, but no charges were ever filed to them. Show me any proof in the Epstein files whatsoever that, for example, one of those was Lex Wexner. Show me any proof whatsoever that the Epstein files show Lex Wexner was trafficked underage children by Jeffrey Epstein. I'm open to seeing that file.
That there are co-conspirators, which is why. And he's saying there are none. So that are credible.
No. That's not the question he was asked there. That you said you have a problem. Do you want to go back and listen to the question again?
Yeah, maybe.
The question was twice. It was made specific twice by Kennedy. The question was, who did he traffic these underagers to?
Wouldn't that imply co-conspirators? Am I insane for thinking that? And if not, how are there other people that are in trouble for this?
One, not necessarily. You could be a co-conspirator about crimes with Epstein that don't involve trafficking children. Second, just because someone was looked at as a potential co-conspirator at one point does not mean they are currently a co-conspirator. What he was asked very specifically was, who did he traffic the children to? Do we have any evidence? And he said, we don't have any credible evidence right now. Now, if you disagree with that and think that's a lie, totally cool. Show me the proof.
No, I think the proof about no co-conspirators and then...
No. The question had nothing to do with co-conspirators. It was a very specific question. Who did he traffic these children to other than himself? Kash Patel says, we don't have any credible evidence that he trafficked them to anyone else.
Right, and you believe that, right?
No, you're saying it's a lie, and that you've seen.
I'm saying I don't believe that based on after this 3 million files being released and they being redacted. Okay, that's the problem with the file release.
Oh, so now you haven't seen the proof. You just assume that under the redactions is the proof that he trafficked to children.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
At this point, I would assume that there is a cover up.
Okay, so you'll fully admit
I would use the Alex Acosta thing. I would use all of that. Yes, and I would say that this is a lie under oath. Absolutely.
Okay, and so it's just your assumption. You haven't seen proof
about the co-conspirators. All right, let me ask you. You think
you keep saying co-conspirators? I'm asking you specifically that you're saying specifically to this specific question. He lied because you believe the Epstein files show that Epstein provably trafficked children to other people. It's just you haven't seen the proof. You assume that it's in the redacted portions.
Oh yeah, including the videos and photos. Yes, exactly. That's
Okay, what
exactly right.
videos and photos have been redacted that shows that as proof?
How could I show you if they're redacted?
Oh, but you're mentioning
That's a
videos
ridiculous
and
question.
photos. What do you mean?
Yeah, well, there's a whole bunch of videos and photos that they listed that were fully redacted. Some people actually went in and showed that you could change the file extension and view some of these to show
Okay,
you that
oh, that's excellent.
Let me use a great example for you.
Yep.
Remember when there was no evidence that there was no wrongdoing in the cell, and there was just a magic missing minute, and then all of a sudden there was a minute that there is evidence for now that showed that they put a barrier up over the camera for some hours. And there's additional footage that showed that possibly a person was walking down the stairs. I believe there's more of that. Do you?
Okay, but you haven't seen it. You just believe it.
Well, I do, but do you believe there's more of that? That's the question. That really
I don't know.
comes down to.
There might be more video evidence. I know this. When it comes to these specific files, like for originally they said there were all these videotapes that Epstein had. What they're claiming is, yeah, it was porn. It wasn't shit. Let me finish.
Apologies.
What they're saying is it was porn. That it was, people assumed, that's shit that Epstein filmed, people having sex. And what the FBI is saying is like, no, that's not what it is. It's just porn, right?
I agree with you, but after seeing the redaction issue and seeing that they actually didn't redact some victims, and they did in some cases redact people who were co-conspirators, like Jean-Luc Brunel as a great example of that. I know that he wasn't adjudicated in court, but that's a pretty solid example there. How could you trust them further?
Because I think what's happening is, I'm not saying that I trust them fully. I don't trust anyone 100% fully. But I think every time I hear people make these boisterous claims like you, it turns out to oftentimes either be bullshit or there's reasonable explanations. For example, with Lex Wexner, we heard Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna go about this. Oh my God, on the page that talked about co-conspirator, they actually had Les Wexner's name redacted there. Now, another 19 times in the files, they had Les Wexner listed as someone they were investigating as a potential co-conspirator. And as soon as they came to him and were like, hey, what about this? They said, oh, our bad, within 24 hours and unredacted it. The other names that were redacted, let me finish. The other names on that very page, I do believe that were redacted, were then read out loud by Ro Khanna, repeating exactly what you're saying. Clearly, these are nefarious co-conspirators. Only it wasn't. It was like an auto mechanic who had never met Jeffrey Epstein, whose picture was used in a photo lineup. And it turned out now that guy's life's ruined because it was assumed he was clearly a co-conspirator. His name was redacted. Well, okay, we got the name unredacted now. Good work. So if they were trying to cover for Les Wexner, for example, why would they include his name every other time and just redact him this one time?
No, I agree. I agree with everything you're saying there, totally. But the problem with Wexner that is the issue is that he also gave Epstein millions and millions of dollars for no apparent reason. I don't find his testimony to be compelling, and he was investigated for these crimes. So I think the preponderance of evidence is weighted enough for me to think that there should be further investigation into.
That's an absurdity. So you just again
explain the money. Why would you give someone that kind of money there, Rob? That's the problem with that. I think that there should be incredible evidence for these kinds of claims, and like $130 million is an incredible evidence for me. Then maybe your standard's different than mine, but that's an incredible standard. I've never met another person or heard another person in my entire life that just came upon $130 million for nothing. Have you?
Okay, so here's where we started. Kennedy's first question was open-ended, and Kash Patel gave a specific date, which proved he was being duplicitous. We went through the rabbit hole there, and it was let me, please, I sit there and let you get your spiel out. We went through the whole thing, and you waffled back and forth, eventually saying that's not where you had the problem. I said, here's the problem. I think you're being dishonest about this, and what we'll see is when we get to the next level and the next question, you're going to do the same thing again. No, that won't be the case. Okay, we get to the next level. You said you saw proof that he lied. It was in the Epstein files. I asked you specifically based on the answer Koch gave here, what's the lie? Your claim is then, well, I haven't seen the proof. I just assume the proof lies in the redacted portions, such as when they did. I said, but look, here's the thing. Like with Les Wexner as a co-conspirator, like he was redacted one time, but was mentioned many other times, and within 24 hours, they unredacted it. And why would they do it? You said, yes, I agree. And then you move the goalpost to something once more completely different. Now you're like, but he must have done something because he exchanged a bunch of money with Epstein. So that's good enough for me. Now we're not on the redacted shit. Now we're on, well, Wexner must be guilty because he gave money. Therefore, Patel's lying.
No, I said that there was evidence. I cited the jail video because because that is your requirement, which I think is a ridiculous requirement at this point, given all of the bullshit and fuckery with this. But since the jail evidence exists, I'll cite it. At that point, you can't say there is no evidence. So now we can talk about things like why.
Where does the jail? Okay, where does the jail
The missing
evidence?
minute. There was a missing minute, Rob.
Okay,
Remember the story?
where
That's
does
a
the
bullshit
missing
story, right?
Okay, the missing minute. How does that
Yep.
prove that Les Wexner had sex with children?
It doesn't.
Go
It
ahead.
proves that they lie to you. It proves that they're
Oh, okay.
willing, that they're
So
willing
then
to
you
lie.
still
Right?
now
Does it
it's
not prove that? Does
Mhm.
it prove that? Does that prove that? Yes or no? I
So,
know.
so just to be clear, the whole redaction shit. Now it's just like, well, I know that Les Wexner had sex with kids because
Let's take
there was a
step
missing
back.
minute
I'm
of this
asking
video.
Why you trust these people? I think they are not.
Who
either
said
very
I trust
competent-
them? Who said I
That's
trust?
what the whole point of this is, Rob.
No,
That's
it's
why we're
not.
saying-
No, the whole point is you
Look
saying
at the
I have
chat.
seen. The whole point is you saying I saw Kosh Patel lie under oath, and as soon as we go to it, you're like, I just assume he's lying.
No, when he said there's
Yes.
no co-conspirators. Okay, and I still believe that. Now you can say that there's no evidence, just like you would say that for the jail video. But then when the evidence comes, you will then shift the goalpost to a whole nother thing.
What are you talking about? You haven't given any evidence
Of the co-conspirators? There's an investigation that names co-conspirators. I didn't do the investigation. Now,
Show
they
me
didn't
where-
move
show me-
forward with it.
in this clip
This
right
is what
here.
two senators are
In the-
saying.
In this clip right here, show me where Kennedy asked about, quote, the word co-conspirator.
Did he traffic to any other people? Is what he said.
Correct.
That was his evidence. Those
Yes.
would be co-conspirators, Rob.
What? Is there, do you
Right.
want me to, do I
Would
need to
they
do
be
a Venn diagram for you? Here.
Yeah,
Here
I
we
understand the mechanic is
Here
not a
we go.
co-conspirator.
Let's
That's
do
the
this. Here we
argument.
go.
You're just
So
spurging
we
and
can
wasting
explain,
time.
right?
Waste more time.
Here could
Yeah,
be
yeah. Draw a
everyone that's a co-conspirator.
Yeah, but the
right? This
mechanic's
big
in there.
circle.
We all
and
understand
inside
this.
that could be people that trafficked with children. So you could be a co-conspirator,
That's true.
but not be the question Kennedy's asking. Do you have proof they trafficked with children? Right? Do you acknowledge that?
Yes, I don't see what this
Okay,
proves to you.
so then you say, yes, but if you traffic children, you would be a co-conspirator. And because the Epstein files at one point say at one point they were looking at people as potential co-conspirators, that proves that they had sex with children.
No, I don't say it proves they had sex with
Okay,
anybody.
but if it doesn't prove
traffic
that,
children, though,
okay,
that's what it proves.
if it doesn't prove that, it doesn't prove they trafficked children.
Wait, say what you said. That I'm sorry, I missed what you said. I thought you said that they were not co-conspirators, or they were, because once they did it, I thought that they were co-conspirators. They had to have trafficked children at that point. That's what I thought you were.
Could they be co-conspirators in crimes other than trafficking children?
Sure. Why should
Okay.
they be redacted then? I don't care. Like, I don't personally.
It was,
care if they
as
get
admitted,
snapped
it
off.
was redacted
Sure.
one time. It was redacted one time, and with the 24 hours, it was unredacted. Then
Yeah,
O'Connor and Massey that said, trust us, bro. They're lying about the rest of this, forced unredactions that were mechanics that had nothing to do with it.
Listen, I'm not saying I trust Ro Khanna, and I'm sorry if a mechanic gets swept up in this. I think it should all be unredacted. I don't give a fuck about the mechanic. Personally, that's where I come down. Other people have other arguments, and I'm willing to hear them. But I think a mechanic can defend himself pretty well. Hey, I'm just the mechanic. I'm willing to believe that, all right? For most people, I think that would be good enough.
Okay,
For other people,
I don't understand the relevancy here.
Yeah, but this is the relevance, because the mechanic could say, yeah, I work in the garage on the island, and just to put the steel man, this Lex Wexner would say, yeah, I gave him $130 million for no reason. And I think there's a huge difference between those two people. I think we should probably discriminate here. And to the things that seem crazy, we should investigate those further. That's
But
openly.
what it sounds like to me.
Quell all
It
of
sounds
this.
like to me. Let me steel man your position. What
Sure,
it is.
no problem.
I just know these people are fucking evil and everything looks shady. So therefore, I assume that Kosh Patel is specifically lying to this specific question.
No, some of the people are, and I do think he's lying about this specific one. Yes.
You have no evidence at all. You just assume things are in redacted files. You have no evidence.
This is what you would say about the jail videos, right? Until the evidence comes out.
No,
That's the
this is what I would
ridiculous
say,
standard.
that when you say in this
That's
specific
ridiculous
clip,
standard.
this specific guy lied about this specific thing, I would ask you to be like, do you have proof that he lied? And you could say, I don't have proof, I just think he is.
Okay,
but that's not what you did.
Can you answer me why someone like Prince Andrew would be in trouble? Just out of curiosity.
Yes, Prince Andrew. Why is he charged? You tell me.
I don't know.
charged?
I'm asking you. I don't think he is charged. No, I think this is all internal from the royal family, as far as I know.
No, Prince Andrew's been charged.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't see that. I'm not
Yes,
going to talk about the British royal family, to be honest with you.
You just brought him up.
Because listen, Rob, I'm work all the fucking time. I listen to your show. I do respect your opinion. That's why I asked you. I could ask a bunch of other people this. I know you had to do this for 6 days already, and I apologize. I missed that or whatever. I apologize. I really want to know what you think about this shit, because it seems pretty fucking crazy to me. And if you're saying there's no evidence of co-conspirators, but somebody like a John-Luc Brunel's dead in jail like an Epstein, and there's a Prince Andrew that's charged by this, it seems like that's obvious evidence that there were other people involved. Does that not seem obvious?
I don't know what to say. No, it doesn't seem obvious to this specific question what you're saying. This is what's happening. You're like, there's shady shit out there. Okay, yeah, sure. Therefore, this specific answer to this specific question I know is a lie.
About the co-conspirators, is that what we're both talking
He
about?
didn't ask about co-conspirators. He asked about, did he traffic children to anyone else?
Co-conspirators for trafficking. You wouldn't say trafficking part buddies? That's, you know what I mean here when I'm talking about this?
No, because what you're saying is, do you acknowledge that there could be co-conspirators for things other than being trafficked children?
Sure, yes.
Okay, so when the specific answer to this question is no, we didn't have evidence of that, and your response is, but it's used the word co-conspirators in some of the files, therefore that's proof. That's not proof.
No, my proof was there was already an investigation. Epstein's the only one that went down. He went down for 6 months in Club Med, and there were co-conspirators that were not listed.
Ghislaine
Maxwell was one of them, yes. And she, to be honest, if you look at this legally, I was actually more involved in the past. She probably shouldn't be in jail based on the deal they have worked out. If you actually look at the details of the deal.
Show me. The problem is this. This is what you said.
I think it's crazy, but go ahead.
This is what it seemed that you implied. You were like, the files, the 3 million files that have been released after Patel said this prove that he's lying.
About there being more fucking files. Yeah, I think that proves it. I think
you said it proves that he's lying about the answer to this specific question.
I think inside these files is probably proof of this. Yes, that's
okay.
I think he lied about,
but you have not. You have not seen that proof.
I have not. No.
Okay, you just assume that somewhere in there, in what's been released, it's just redacted. In those redacted parts says, the FBI says, we have proof that this person right here had sex with children that was trafficked by Epstein.
No, proof of co-conspirators. I'm not ever saying
that wasn't the question that Kennedy asked. You said he lied to this question that Kennedy asked. Kennedy didn't say, were there co-conspirators? He said, were there other people that he trafficked these children to?
They were excluded in the first investigation by name, including Ghislaine Maxwell. How the fuck can that possibly be true? That's the evidence.
You're telling me that you believe in these redactions. Take the word co-conspirator out of your vernacular because you've already admitted that you could be a co-conspirator for other reasons, right? Sure. So you're telling me that you believe that in these files, in the redacted portion, is proof that the FBI has that other people slept with children that were provided by Epstein.
I don't think it has to be slept with children.
That's the question that was asked.
No, what if it's the person who? No. What if it's Leslie Groff or one of those people who facilitated every one of these things?
Listen to this. Listen to the question again.
Okay. These young women too, besides himself. Did you?
Courageous reopened it.
Excuse me for interrupting, but I'm going to run out of time. You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible.
Okay. Can you repeat what the question was?
Who did he traffic to other than himself?
Yes. And you believe that the files show that the FBI has proof?
I think it shows evidence that should be investigated of that. Yes,
no. But that's different than what Patel said. You're saying Patel's lying.
How would a document demonstrate proof somebody had sex with somebody? I think that
in order for Patel,
they should be investigating, Rob.
In order for
Wexner, and the money would be the obvious reason. Then his appearance in the file would corroborate the money.
In order for Patel to be lying, you would have to prove that he has seen the evidence. That the evidence shows that the other people were getting these underagers. That's what a lie would be. It wouldn't be, well, Patel should have investigated harder.
So are you saying is your claim mass incompetence for Patel? You just didn't look at it, therefore you can't answer these questions honestly?
No, I'm saying that I don't see any proof that these files show definitive proof that someone was engaging in these activities with minors.
Did you look at the files? Have you looked at the files?
I have looked at some of the files, nowhere near all of them.
Have you seen his personal assistant, Leslie Groff? I think that's her name. I might be butchering her name.
Sure.
Do you know she's one of the people that got the Sweetheart deal in 2006?
Okay, and?
Do you not think she helped facilitate this shit? I mean, there's literally her booking flights, booking hotels.
Do you think she was one of the ones that had sex with these underagers?
I don't care. No, I don't know.
Then what's the relevancy to this specific question that you said Patel's lying about?
Because the word traffic, are you saying the end user is the only person that's involved in a trafficking?
I'm saying if someone says, who had sex with these kids?
That's not what
you say, we don't have evidence of anyone else.
No, he said trafficking. Sorry, Rob, I'm not interrupting you. I'm sorry.
The question was, besides himself, who did he traffic these women to?
Correct.
I think that's Patel's answer is we don't have proof of anyone else. Not did other people help him traffic. That's not the question.
So that okay, I guess. So Because he didn't ask. Okay, so you think there's no possible. So the answer to this is because he trafficked to himself, he can just say myself. And because he didn't book the flights and he didn't do, so he didn't traffic anybody else. Is that what you're saying? Because my claim here would be that there's other people that trafficked. They're in the list. If anybody's interested in looking at, you can see them. I named one right now that I think that would fit all the qualifications of someone who would get caught up in a trafficking investigation for this. I don't count them as the end user. I think the end user is the meat people want, but I think it takes a lot more than just the end user.
The question was the end user. That's the question that Kennedy asked. You said Patel's answer is a lie.
Right?
Who he trafficked to.
Sure. Does that imply Epstein is trafficking to them? Trafficking?
Yes.
Is it only Jeffrey in this trafficking network?
I don't know, but it's clear that
see how there would be co-conspirators now to a trafficking network?
It is clear. It is clear.
I don't know.
It is clear based on the questions. If you take them as a whole, or if you just take it there, right? Not only does he say who did he traffic them to, implying who was the people getting the sex, he actually specifically sets the question up earlier by saying, did he traffic them to themselves? In other words, did he have sex with them themselves?
He said yes.
Yes. Who else did he traffic to? Who else had sex with them?
Are we taking Epstein's testimony? This is the problem with this. Are we taking Epstein's own testimony? Are we taking shit that's in the documents? Because I can show you Leslie Groff. I can show you many people saying I have extra girls. I have details of girls. Those would all be traffickers for this.
Those are traffickers.
Epstein's traffickers.
I don't know. I don't know how to make
how this doesn't work.
I don't know how to make this more clear. The question is, who had sex with these kids? And you're like, oh, I could show you other people that helped people have sex.
You're saying nobody did. Who has the more unreasonable position?
I'm not saying nobody did. I'm saying
there's no evidence.
I'm saying that Patel is saying that the files do not have credible evidence of other people that had sex with the kids. Now, he may be lying. I'm asking you for proof of that. And you're like, you've given two answers. Well, here's other people it suggested may have trafficked, not the people having sex. And then your second answer is, I assume the answers are somewhere within the redacted portion. That's your answers.